Good morning, everyone. I'm Ewa Bańkowska, Deputy Director at Microfinance Center. I'm excited to welcome all of you to Social Finance Vibe 2025, the Great Rebalancing. This is our fifth annual learning event. It's fantastic to see so many of you, almost 400 participants from 75 countries, including MFC members, partners, and friends who support social finance. As we are kicking off, I want to take a moment to thank all of our conference partners. We are especially grateful to the European Commission, our strategic partner, co-financing this edition yet another time. I'd like to also recognize other partners, the Social Inclusive Finance Technical Assistance Program, known as SIFTA, managed by the European Investment Bank under the InvestEU Advisory Hub, the Council of Europe Development Bank, the Frankfurt School of Finance and Management, Social Economy Europe, European Investment Fund, FEBEA, and the National Contact Point for Financial Instruments from Poland. Thank you all for making this event possible. Now, I have the pleasure to welcome Martina Grigorova, CEO at SIS Credit in Bulgaria and member of the MFC Council, who will officially open the conference. Martina, good morning. It's great to have you with us.
Good morning.
Please do the honors of opening Social Finance Vibe 2025.
Thank you, Eva. You were so efficient, like 2 minutes. Ready for the Social Finance Vibe. So good morning, everyone, and a warm welcome to Social Finance Vibe 2025. I'm very happy to welcome you all on behalf of MFC Council. And before we start, let me share a few details about today's opening session. So we are honored to have with us Mr. Mario Nava, Director General, Directorate General for Employment, Social Affairs and Inclusion at the European Commission, who will deliver a keynote speech followed by a short discussion. So please feel free to put your questions in the chat, and we will have time for about 2 or 3 questions, depending on the schedule. And now, without any further delay, it's my great pleasure to give the floor to Mr. Mario Nava. Mr. Nava, the screen is yours.
Thank you very much.
Good morning.
Thank you very much, Martina. Thank you very much, Eva. It's a pleasure to be here with you. Virtually, this time I don't have to apologize because I was virtually also at the other conference in Cagliari, which was not smart of me because Cagliari is a very beautiful place. But now we are all virtual, so that's fine. Thank you for the acknowledgement of the role of the Commission into that. Let me be very clear. I mean, one of the reasons why, and then I'll go to my formal speech, but one of the reasons why the Commission is keen to partner with you is because we believe a lot in the added value you can provide. We do think that the social finance, that microfinance, it's at the basis of a social economy, and is at the basis of many of the things that we want to do. Let me do 3 quick things with you during my speech, and then, as Martina said, I'm more than happy to take your questions. The 3 things I want to do is, first of all, look briefly at the changing EC priorities and at the current geopolitical situation. Then I would like to look a moment at the link between microfinance and the social economy, and then conclude with what is becoming the game in town here, which is, of course, the MFF. As you know, the Commission in July proposed the new MFF, and as we know, money matters. You said it, Eva, when we started. This is co-funded by the European Union yet again, and therefore it's important to know what is the money inside. Now, first point is the EC priorities and the geopolitical situation. There's no doubt that the geopolitical situation has shifted a lot in the last few years, and it has shifted in ways that were not always easy to understand, to predict, or to navigate. But if there is one thing that it's important to continue foster and to continue navigate, are the skills of the people. The skills of the people is what will make Europe strong. Europe does not have raw material. Europe, the biggest raw material of Europe is us, is the people. And I must say, the Draghi report and then the competitiveness compass recognize these 100%. Basically, the competitiveness compass called the skills a horizontal enabler to the progression of Europe, and in particular to competitiveness. So I think, you know, being able to put together all the Europeans, and in particular to harness all their skills, is absolutely fundamental. In that respect, the social economy, of course, plays a big role, because both the microfinance and the social economy permit the creation of, let's say, a right environment for the people to thrive, for the people to grow. So the social agenda, in particular in this period where we have geopolitical tensions and where priorities are moving, the social agenda remains very strong, because it's the social agenda that permits to get as many people as possible to the labor market. As you know, we have three very clear objectives in the European Pillar of Social Rights, which are sort of our goalposts. One is 78% employment for the 2064 group of people by 2030. We are there, essentially. We are today at 76, which is a great progress. We most likely we will well above 78 by 2030. We have already 6 or 7 European countries who are above 80. Why this matters? This matters because in the remaining 22, there are the categories where you can impact a lot. When you look at the remaining 22, you recognize many clients of microfinance. You see women. We have made this year, I'm sure many of you at least have browsed through the ESDE report, the European Social Development Report, and the Labor Market Wage Development Report that we will publish in a week here. There we really put the accent on mobilizing people, getting people to work. And when you look at the categories who are still not working enough, women, of course, migrants, disabled people, all people who have proved in the past to really be very good clients of yours in terms of microfinance. The second objective of the European Pillar of Social Rights is, of course, to reduce people at risk of poverty. So as we know today in the AROPE, which is, of course, a very large indicator at risk of poverty and exclusion, we have about 93 million people. If they were a member states, they would be the biggest member states of Europe. 93 million people. We plan to reduce it by 15 by 2030 again. And that, of course, is an ambitious plan. And the plan has been made even more ambitious by the State of the Union of Ursula von der Leyen this year, where she asked us to help eradicating poverty by 2050. So it's a long-term objective, but I think the eradication of poverty is quite important. And one of the reasons why I was absent in Cagliari was because I was at an anti-poverty conference where Muhammad Yunus intervened, and Muhammad Yunus said very clearly, we need to go by 2050 to the 3-0. 0 emissions, 0 poverty, 0 unemployment. And I think somehow the microfinance helped the 3 more clearly on the 0 poverty and on the 0 unemployment, but also the 0 emissions, because I'm convinced that from now till 2050, many of the micro projects that you will finance have a green touch and have a green transition. Actually, if you think 2050 is not tomorrow, but is the day after tomorrow, 2070 is when many of us, let's say the kids of us that we are here, will retire in 2060, 2070, 2080, And, when they retire, they will have their pension out of green assets. There is no other way that they can have their green pension if not out of green assets. So it's extremely important that we make this transition. As we know, we have a social economy action plan that we are bringing forward. So I'm really grateful for all the contributions that you make, in particular of the microfinance center, exactly because you are at the center of these 3 zeros that I was saying, and also because you contribute to the third pillar of the European pillar of social right, the one of improving the skills. We have an objective of having 60% of the people trained each year, which essentially means a training course every 20 months. Again, we are not there, but I really hope we will be getting there. And obviously, your contribution to that is quite crucial. And you can truly do that, because a big part of your work is the training that has been provided to the beneficiaries, to non-financial services, which is quite impressive, and which, as I was saying at the very beginning, skills and training make Europe competitive. So if we want to push the competitiveness, this is very clear. One thing I feel I need to give you as an advice: in Cagliari, we had a very good discussion, and I was asked, give us an advice, and my advice is very clear: is structure these, demonstrate very clearly the benefits you produce, because I believe it, people believe it, I can see it, I can touch it. You don't need to convince me, you don't need to preach to the converted, you need to convince everybody, the public, and you need to have big numbers to show it. So, and I'm sure you can do it, but if you have compelling arguments to showcase your added value to member states, to managing authorities, I think that's clear. And then let me close on the MFF. Eva, you started with money, and money matters. We all know it. So the new MFF Commission proposal in July, about 2 trillion of expenditure with the new MFF. There is a part which may be very interesting to you, which is the National and Regional Partnership Plan. They need to promote equal opportunities, support a social safety net, foster social inclusion, intergenerational fairness, and of course, fight poverty. And within the plan, our instrument, the ESF and the ESF Plus, is clearly a bit the mother of all instruments. Is a key instrument for the coordination of the union and national employment and social policy. We have done social inclusions. We have done food and basic material assistance. Few people know that, for example, in France, a very well-known initiative, which is the Resto du Cœur, 1/3 is financed by us. Without the ESF, the Resto du Cœur could distribute 1/3 less of the food. Last week, I was in Bratislava at our European Labour Agency. I profited of the fact that I was in beautiful and small Bratislava to go to see a project that we financed with the ESF. It was a housing project of people that we somewhat house, and there again, we basically support about 1/3. We have been with the ESF addressing child poverty, implementing the child guarantee, combating youth unemployment. This is a thing on which you also go very directly with microfinance. Both could be your beneficiaries, or direct beneficiaries, or indirect beneficiaries, the beneficiaries of actually the project that you finance. So there are a number of areas where we really want to continue work. And of course, as a commission official, I look very much forward. You say in good English, the reality is that I'm very impatient to start the negotiations on the MFF with Council and Parliament, and being able to bring to you again the ESF Plus, so that from 2028 onward, we can continue with conferences like these and with a project like yours, which, as I said, I'm absolutely convinced they bring value. So thank you very much for giving me the honor once again to open up. And now I'm all yours. Everything you always wanted to ask and never dared, I'm here.
I'm starting
thank you,
directly.
Yes, thank you, Mario, and especially for the acknowledgement of microfinance. On behalf of all MFC members, really big thank you for acknowledging our efforts.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. And directly to the questions, because actually I have a lot and hope that people from the audience also will have. So, Mr. Nava, you said that social agenda remains strong, which is like good news for the sector. You said that microfinance is uniquely positioned to deliver both jobs and social inclusion. Some of the practitioners are sharing like constraints that there is no dedicated, targeted, and secured support for microfinance, and there is this fear that we need to compete with big banks, with big social finance provider, and at the end we have many members who are smaller MFIs without enough capacity, administrative capacity. So could you share if, I know it's early for the next MFF to discuss in detail, but could you share how you envisage the support to microfinance sector and especially the smaller MFIs?
Yeah, thank you very much, madam. Look, the characteristic of the new MFF is more flexibility. There is no doubt on that. So not only there is not a secluded part for microfinance, but if you want, there is also not a secluded part for big tickets like agriculture. There is a minimum, social spending. There is a minimum. So we have some minimum, and the rest is more flexible because we have seen in the last 7 years, in the period of 21-27, we have seen that priorities change now. We hope that in the future they change less rapidly than they have changed in the past, because honestly, in the last 5 years, we have had a period of perma change, but still we need to be ready to that. Having said all of that, let me be very clear, and that's why I was actually saying in my speech, please be able to demonstrate. So all of our instruments are market driven. It's clear that we need to convince Parliament and Council. We need to convince stakeholders that the mechanism works. But it's also clear that you have a very good reputation, you have very good results, you have very good press. And on this side, we really like to work with you. We are convinced of the necessity to work with you. So I hear your message very well. We will make sure that the code of conduct make it possible to access to small and no for-profit organizations. So to make sure that there is not the effect you were saying that the small one, in a way, they are squeezed by the big one. So we'll make all of that sure, but I think you can really help yourself by making evident what you have done. And once what you have done is understood by everybody, I'm absolutely sure you are able to stand any market-driven process.
Yeah. Impact measurement is key, if I understood your message right. So we are working towards this, and I think that also we took your message, like also from some time ago. We have one comment in the chat, like that it's important to think about financial instruments supporting the social economy in the new EU perspective. And this is clear for everybody. You mentioned that actually the new national and regional partnership plans will drive implementation, right? So maybe the question here is, how will the EU ensure that social finance and microfinance priorities within these plans are coherently aligned across member states? Because especially since implementation can be fragmented and national priorities often diverge. So how do you see your role, and how we could have some control here?
Yeah, no, I think this is a very good question. And this has been, if you want, the difficult part also of the Next Generation EU, right? Because in the Next Generation EU, you have a moment of good coordination and good coherency of the plan, which is the moment when the plan are being discussed. On that, there is no doubt, because we are the hub of where all these plans come. We normally have given the guidelines. We do not have an instrument like they have in environmental matters, do no significant harm. We do not have a do no significant social harm, but we have, let's say, a logic of that. So the phase of planning is a phase where I think we can start well and we can coordinate. But then it comes the phase of implementation. There you are right, is the phase of the risks. There is no doubt, and there is where we need to be attentive. Thanks God, there is a mechanism of continuous verification of the milestone and targets, and that mechanism of continuous verification may allow to play a role there. Plus, one of the idea of the new MFF is that, of course, the semester plays a role. Now, when you look in the semester, you have seen in the semester references to your area. So I think these are the two elements, the constant verification of milestone and targets, and the semester. And the semester, while the constant verification of milestone and targets is more bilaterals, is more to the member states, the semester per se is an exercise which is joint. So I think these are the two areas, but you are very right that if there is a moment where we need to be attentive, is exactly the implementation one.
Yes. We have actually already many questions. I can see one from Palestine, which is nice. So regarding technical assistance for MFIs, obviously we are doing great job. We are providing business development services to clients. That is important within the EU priorities to build skills in entrepreneurs. And the question is, let it put like broader. Is there envisaged support first for the MFIs to build this resilience for technical assistance? And on the other hand, could we expect some support for the business development services that we are providing to clients? Because, you know, they are critical in achieving impact, but not always financially self-sustaining. So MFIs need this support, and we know that maybe it's too much within all our needs, but how do you see this support?
I think financial sustainability in fine is a must. We cannot imagine something which in fine does not become financially sustainable, either because the country understands that it produces positive externalities and therefore is ready to finance, or because one reason or another the private sector is able to do it. So on that, I think we need to be firm. However, that does not mean that in the parcours to it, you may have moments where there is no financial sustainability. So I do see moments where there can be assistance, of course, and where a role can be played, even if for a short period is not financially sustainable. What is very important is that, of course, you have a plan. You were talking about business conduct. So it's clear that you have a plan where at a moment you get financially sustainable. I think that is important. We need to distinguish between the short run, the impulse, where it's nearly natural that some support is given, and that's why we are there, and that's why the MFI are there. But still, I think we have the duty, and the MFI have the duty to put their effort in projects which are, of course, long-term sustainable.
Yes, true. So I'm going to pick another question from the audience.
Please.
We don't have so much time, so You know, we have many members who are from candidate countries, from the Western Balkans, and they have their concerns regarding the European Code of Good Conduct certification, as the European Code became a label for the sector. So I know that it's not within DG Employment, but maybe you could share what are the plans for these MFIs in candidate countries who want to benefit from certification under the code?
As you said, it's not within DG Employment, still is within the Commission. So, you know, as a senior manager of the Commission, it's also my duty to try to do it. The objective, of course, is, you know, for us, for the Europeans, when we work on something, there is nothing better than being able to, quote unquote, export our code. I mean, we have a European Code of Conduct. We believe into that. You are more than nice to say that it has become a brand, so it's become recognizable, as many other things. You know, we have brands in finance. Things of the UCITS, for example, they're a brand in finance, and because they are a brand, we have been able to build, for example, lots of green finance on the UCITS. The same on the bonds. The green bonds is a brand which is exported a lot in the world. I mean, Europe issues 52% of the world green bonds, having the 20% of the world GDP. So having a brand which is exportable is great. So if we can do that for the European Code of Conduct, fine. We understand that, of course, what I was saying at the very beginning of my speech, you need to work on the skills, you need to work on the characteristic, and so on and on. One thing I can say is that, of course, we do have there is an agency, the DG Employment has 5 agencies. One of the 5 is the European Training Foundation that works with third countries, works with candidate countries, and not only, also with countries far away. A couple of weeks ago, we had the EU-Egypt summit, and the ETF was chairing one of the panel. So we have a possibility to look at that. Of course, again, I want to be clear, this is not an effort that we as DG Employment can make alone. So what I can mention, what I can promise to you is that I'm the chair of the board of the European Training Foundation. In the board, the other DGs sit, the other DG who matter, they sit. So INTPA, ENEST, and so on and on. And what I can promise to you is that at the next board, I will bring this issue, I will bring this question, and I would say I have received these questions, and we can see what we do. It's not something that we can do it alone, but it's certainly something that together we can do it with the other DG. And I must say, delighted to know that there is demand for that.
Yes, it is. So, Mr. Nava, for the end, just you are economist, you are a policymaker, but we consider you also as a long-standing friend of the social economy. So, could you give like one sentence last advice to us how to stay resilient and relevant? So, what would be this advice from you for?
I thank you, madam. This is a very nice question again. You said we want to be resilient and relevant. Now, if you want to be resilient and relevant, what you have to do is to be in the mainstream of the action we do. And the mainstream of the action we do, they need to be measurable. Thanks God, we have all agreed on what are the 3 parameters to measure, which are the 3 targets of the European Pillar of Social Rights. So your contribution to those 3 targets will show your relevance. And that's why I have insisted a lot in my speech to that, because those 3 parameters, they are really in your remit, you know, getting people to work, reducing poverty, and making sure people have the right skills. This is what you do for living. I mean, morning to evening, madam, that's what you do. So, and I think if you document, if you make clear that this is exactly what you do and you're able to show results, you definitely will remain central and resilient.
Note taken. Grazie mille, Mr. Nava.
Thank you.
Yes.
And
Thank you,
Eva,
So-
back to you.
Yeah, so zero poverty, zero emissions, and zero unemployment. Thank you, Mr. Nava, for joining us and for being open for questions. This is very much appreciated. Martina, thank you so much for facilitating this discussion and excellent questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Goodbye. Have a great day. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, bye.
Thank you.
So if we are about to start our first session, but let me just say a few more words about what to expect during today's day. If you would like to hear more from the representatives of the European Commission, I highly recommend joining the sessions titled Preparing Microfinance for Tomorrow at 11:30, and also another session, Social Economy Action Plan with Croatia's perspective at 1:30 p.m. Mr. Nava actually spoke a lot about our sector being able to prove our contribution to the Commission's goal and European Union goals. So I would like also to take this opportunity to mention the annual overview survey of the microfinance sector in Europe. This is the survey jointly conducted by MFC and EMN, and this is the only comprehensive source of data on microfinance activities across Europe. Results from the last survey show that microfinance institutions in Europe served nearly 1.5 million borrowers, managing a loan portfolio of around 7 billion euros. Almost 90% of business borrowers are solo entrepreneurs and micro enterprises employing fewer than 5 people. So the overview survey plays a crucial role in identifying challenges MFIs have in order to serve those most vulnerable groups and in order to deliver on 3 zeros. And the survey provides evidence to stakeholders to help shape effective responses. So to second Mr. Nava's points, I would like to encourage all of you not only to read the publication, but also to contribute to our annual survey. You can use the QR code on the slide in order to download the publication. If you are interested in finding out about how various challenges are approached by practitioners, I highly recommend sessions in the tracks marked as social economy and clients diversity. We also planned exciting discussions in the track of sessions about megatrends. Whatever your choice, I'm sure you will find tons of inspiration and learning opportunities. If you have any trouble joining any session, contact our help desk on WhatsApp. You will find the number in your last reminder email and on the platform. Actually, this is already a time to join the first session. So feel free to take your coffee and just join the next session. We hope you will have an informative and inspiring time at this event. Enjoy.